Alright guys, everyone's here. I think we've only got 2 new players in the squad for this window. You guys can meet everyone off the back of this meeting. First window off the back of the World Cup qualifying. Time to ease ourselves back into some decent competition because Vanuatu, 20-0. I don't think we're going to be doing that this time around. If you want to, that's great. But Mali and Iraq are about 80 places above them and not that far below us. Okay, so we need to respect them, but we should be beating them. If we can do that, launch ourselves into next year and the World Cup and make sure we're in that final 8 again, okay? Let's start this build up to the World Cup nicely, pick up some good wins and show the world we're a force to be reckoned with.
In the streets, in the cities on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 95 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both Cashmere Tech and the All Whites. And coming up today, we've got 2 games in the November international window with the national team here in New Zealand. We're going to take on Mali and Iraq away from home and hopefully make our way up those FIFA World Rankings just a touch more going in to the end of 2033. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. Yesterday we booked our spot in the grand final of the National League. If you missed that, with those wins there top right corner over both Auckland City and the Napier City Rovers, I'll leave a link to that one over in the top right corner. We are going to go forward off the back of these 2 games and check on the results on the final match day, because that second spot is wide open between those 2 teams, and Western Suburbs also backdoor their way into yet another championship grand final against us. So we'll see who will take on in that final in tomorrow's episode come the end of today's one. But just to make sure, we'll have an episode tomorrow because I wasn't too sure if I'll get through a whole transfer window before the end of this week. We're going to play some internationals here with the All Whites and Mali. To be fair, I'm pretty sure we did a bus trip for these guys the last time we played them, and we picked up a 3-2 win, so it was quite a close affair. Hopefully this is a team that we can beat because we are above them on the world rankings, with them being down in 47th. In terms of us these days, we, I believe, are 36, somehow moved up slightly off the back of our win in FIFA World Cup qualifying in Oceania, even though we were taking on teams about 100 or so places below us. And off the back of the Mali game, then we take on Iraq, and to be fair, that should actually be even easier. Hopefully that's the case with those guys down in 68th, just in case some players do get no restrictions off the back of this first one that we are about to play. So I don't think we need to do a bus trip for either of the games in today's episode, because the Iraq one might not be the best one. Not too sure how Google Maps is over in that part of the world. But 2 friendlies here, which hopefully we can win, boost up our ranking a bit more, which could be important to see what pot we do end up in for the World Cup draw for next year, whenever that does take place. In terms of our squad going into this window, obviously Louis Evans out with injury for Cashmere Technical. That means that he is unavailable. 1 or 2 injuries so coming in for him. Joe Bell, because of course Anto Bratic was in for Bell the last window, so Bell comes in and replaces Evans, so it does mean that Anto Bratic does keep his spot in the squad. And also a late withdrawal here of Martin Darman. So Victor Sono is our first choice right back, and alongside that we've got Jason Thomas as the backup, yet another youngster from the Phoenix who does have a decent amount of potential and also half decent current ability right back. Pretty weak area in the national team, hence why we usually go for right backs from overseas at Cashmere Technical, albeit so far that hasn't worked too well because none of them have qualified for the All Whites just yet. But a potential debut here for Jason Thomas, and also Anto Bratic keeps his spot, seeing as Louis Evans is injured. But as you could see there, going with a pretty strong considering lineup for this first game. We do take on Mali, considering they're the team ranked a bit higher than Iraq, and hopefully we can pick up a decent result. We'll come back shortly and hopefully start this window off with a win, back-to-back ones over Mali. And here are the team sheets for this first friendly of this window. First up, the home team. They are going with a 4-2-3-1 to beat them last time we played them. Hopefully that will be the case here. Again, you saw our team before. Sono right back and Bell in the ball wing midfielder, seeing as Louis Evans is out with injury, but apart from that, we're at full strength for this window. That's our first choice 11, so hopefully we can pick up a win going in to that Iraq game. And in fact, a very early corner here in our favour. Joe Bell will float this one far post. The goalkeeper tries to catch it, can't, and Liberato Kakache will pop up with one of the easiest goals he will ever score at international level. That is a rare collector's item. That is a brilliant start, just absolute butterfingers that from the Mali goalkeeper. Thankfully, we make the most of it and grab an early lead. And just past the 10-minute mark here, early stages on the front foot here away from home, a thrown inside of the final third. Sono takes it, gets it back before going back to Joe Bowler, and now Tyler Bindon plays that one forward for Cornelius Barely out there to the goal scorer. And Kakache, as I said, pretty easy work from there off the back of a mistake. I'm pretty sure it was from the goalkeeper. That's how it looked anyway. Not too sure if a defender did get in his way and stuff things up. We try and play a ball there into the mixer through Sono. Can't quite. Then goes far post there for Josh Pickering, back from injury for this window. But unfortunately, that shot gets blocked. Still 1-0 up after 15 minutes. And just making our way here past the halfway point of the first half and still well and truly on the attack in this game. A thrown inside the final third. Victor Sono puts that one far post. The goalkeeper gets to it, punches it clear, so we're back in position here inside of the final third. Pickering picks out Jamie Kelly, and Magasa not looking too solid there at the back with balls that are floated in. That's now two he hasn't dealt with too well. It's resulted in 2 goals this time. Had to do a little bit of work there off the back of a bit of a poor punch clearance. Pickering to Kelly, one touch before putting that one away in the top left corner. It's a cushion goal to make it 2-0. And just about to make our way here into half-time in this first game of today's episode. I'm pretty sure that up until that most recent update, we'd seen a highlight from all the shots we'd taken in this game. A very late highlight there, Tyler Bindon with a header from a free kick just outside the box, but unfortunately that one just over the bar. But Mali have really been on the back foot so far in this game. Just one shot. We've definitely been the better team, and 2 shots on target for 2 goals. Going to make a sub here because Kelly Heald is on a yellow card. Simon Curtis, a very able backup, so we'll bring him on. But to be fair, I think that's all we need to do. Doing quite well in this one so far. We'll get the second half underway with a 2-0 lead. And maybe Mali got a bit of a rocket here at half-time because first highlight might be in their favour of thrown inside the final third. Quite a similar spot where we had a couple of highlights in that first half. And then a good work there to cut inside, but thankfully that shot's a poor one. It goes well over the bar, looking for that top left corner. Paulson not tested the man who in real life sounds like might be off to AFC Bournemouth, but now we go down the other end of the corner. We take short. George McDonald, here he goes down, and a chance potentially for him here from the penalty spot. Not actually too sure who's on penalty duty in this all-whites team. In fact, it's Josh Pickering back in for this window, sends Magasa the wrong way, and that should really put this game to be 3-0 after 50-odd minutes. That is a good penalty in this window, going a bit better than the last one when we took on Mali, because so far we're running away from them a bit as we make it 3-0. In fact, shortly off the back of that, now it's a corner here in our favour, and Simon Curtis will pop up again with a very rare goal, and that is a volley. Not how you expect your centre-backs to score from corners. That is a very nice strike. That as that one goes far post, beats the goalkeeper. It is near one, 4-0, just shy of the hour mark. And in fact, only a few minutes on from that goal, we're going to make another sub here because Victor Sono down to red hearts. Jason Thomas, he can make his debut also. Might take off George McDonald while we've got a 4-0 lead, seeing as he's going fairly. I think that's all we'll do here. Still 3 more subs we can use in the remaining 30-odd minutes with this 4-0 advantage. And in fact, only a minute off the back of those subs, we are now down the other end here. Mali looking to grab a goal back. They play it one to the mixer, and Pickering gets a foot and doesn't win the ball, but thankfully we can clear our lines, albeit not for too long. Mali are back on the attack, but you imagine at this stage, it's just looking for a consolation goal, but 4-0 over a team inside the top 50, quite encouraging. Might be continuing that goal scoring form from those wins we picked up over Vanuatu, beating them 20-0 to make our way into next year's FIFA World Cup. But now Mali do continue here, try and get on the attack, but good work from us so far with the Gegenpress to get them going backwards just a little bit. Hopefully this highlight might actually end up being in our favour, albeit as I say that, they now start to get back on the attack there through Koulibaly down the left-hand side. Does our man there at right back. That might be the debutant in Jason Thomas. Thankfully, we can just clear our lines there eventually. Kakache wins that ball for us, plays it forward to the striker in Uelese. Few loose touches from him. That ends that highlight. 20 minutes left. Still 4-0 up. And in fact, before I can wrap things up, there is now a corner in our favour. Libby will take this one. Goes near post. looking there, I think, for Curtis. It nearly goes over the line, but obviously not quite because the goal has not come up. We nearly make it 5-0, but still 4 with 20 minutes left. Not to pick out a few players down 2 red hearts. Jay Herdman can come on for Kelly. Also Joe Bell, Anto Bratic can get some game time. And we might as well give a rest as well to Tyler Bindon. Our best centre-back, Ryan Billingsley, can come on for him as we're 4-0 in front with 15 minutes left. And we're just now into the last 5 minutes of this game. I was about to give a praise. I thought this one might be over, but thrown here inside of the final third. And Thomas will pick up an assist on debut. And early say coming on for George McDonald, picks up a goal. And we're giving them a handful here in Mali. That makes it 5. This is a very good performance over a team not that far below us on the world rankings. Maybe we're a bit of a dark horse going into that 2034 FIFA World Cup, albeit it will depend on what group we get. But to be fair, we've finished second the last couple. We need to expect us to have finished a bit lower than that, starting to develop some decent talent here in this New Zealand team. We make our way into 2 minutes of added time, but that is a very good performance to start this window. And next up, Iraq are ranked a bit lower than Mali. We'll see if that remains the case off the back of the second game, because Mali, they might get a drop in ranking off the back of that. That was a bit of a thrashing, but a good start to this window. A 5-0 win over Mali. I'll make my way forward off camera and we'll come back to take on Iraq. And we are back for the second game in this November international window, taking on Iraq. They are going with a 4-4-2 coming up shortly. Our team, lots of changes because quite a few players recommended for only 45 minutes. So Billingsley comes in for that would have been Kelly Hilt. Also White over Kakache Stamanik, starting over Cornelius Beale. Both our wingers changed, so it's Hall, Jones and Jones, as well as that Willie up front instead of George McDonald. Hopefully that won't affect us too much and we can win both games in this window. And just short of the half-hour mark, we eventually get the first highlight of this game. Much like the Mali game, we've been on the front foot so far, albeit no highlights, but 6 shots to none, but only 1 on target. But we are on the front foot here, maybe a bit disjointed with all the changes that we have made. But Victor Sono pops up with a goal. That's probably one of his first in an all-white shirt, and that makes it 1-0 off the back of the first highlight. But based on stats, we probably deserve that. So hopefully there's going to be quite a good international window for us. Maybe need to start taking on some higher star-rated reputation teams than what we've got here in this window, which to be fair was a bit last minute because I was still in World Cup qualifying mode when these ones popped up and I just went, yeah, we'll take them because didn't have much else I could find off the back of that. Now, Jamie Kelly has dropped down to a red heart, so he might have to come off at halftime along with a few other players who were only recommended for 45 minutes. So a bit of a tired squad maybe going into the latter stages of this game. But it was the Iraq who did have a throw inside the final field. We clear it briefly, and then good work from Ulisse as well, as I think that might have been Jamie Kelly to win that ball back for us there in central midfield. And Ulisse makes his way forward down the left-hand side, pulls that one back for Marco Stamnic and there for Kelly. Nice off-play there for Jacob Hall-Jones, and I think that's also one of his first goals in an all-white shirt, at least in terms of being on camera. Unfortunately, this is an away game. I say unfortunately, that means I don't have to come up with a song for him, which might have taken a little bit of time, so I might not mind that. But Hall-Jones, good little pass there from Kelly to open up the space for him. 2 highlights in the first half, 2 goals to make it 2-0 so far. Iraq up to absolutely nothing. Hopefully that's the way things will continue in the second half, but that was a very good first half, albeit I think we have to make some changes going into the second one because quite a few players there were dropping down stamina-wise late in that first half, in particular Victor Sono and Jamie Kelly. So Sono will come off, Thomas can get a full half of action this time, and also Herdman can come on in central attacking midfield as well as that Pickering for Hall-Jones, as Hall-Jones only recommended for 45 minutes, and the same does apply for Stamnic. We'll bring on Bratic and try out Joe Bell as a deep-lying playmaker just because Beale isn't quite on a full green heart. Quite a few changes there at halftime, but again, pretty happy with how this one's going as we're 2-0 in front. And it hasn't taken too long for the first highlight of the second half, and again, we might be on the front foot here with a corner, and Tyler Bindon gets on the end of that one from Adam White, beats the goalkeeper there in Hassan at that far post, just sneaks that one in. That makes it 3-0 again. Much like the Mali game, might be putting these guys to bed nice and early in the second half, and this time quite impressive with a bit of a rotated team. 3-0 up, just shy of the hour mark. And in fact, right off the back of that third goal, we do go down the other end here for a throw into Iraq. To be fair, they're getting a lot more highlights than Mali did that previous game. That is a massive chance somehow that guy found himself in space. Really should have been an Alex Paulson, but for some reason couldn't. And off the back of that, we are down the other end. Thankfully, just keep the ball there off the back of that front, but not for too long. Joe Bell a bit loose on the ball, and now Iqbal plays that one out to the right-hand side, and Majid will float that one into the mix. And not good work there from Tyler Bindon, and Billingsley can't beat the Al Hamadi, who will grab a goal back there for Iraq. I thought that Bindon had the chance there to deal with that danger. This ball into the mixer was a little bit dangerous, but Bindon got back to cover it, but then heads there across the face of goal for some reason, and Al Mahdi, a bit taller there than Billingsley, can put that one away in the bottom right corner, and Iraq pull one back to make it 3-1. And we're almost into the last 20 minutes of this game, and Iraq here might be getting a second wind in this game. Maybe some of those subs we made not helping as they were on the attack there. Thankfully, we get the ball back. Now Pickering cuts inside, looking to switch that out to Chris Jones. Not a very good idea, and now Salman can start to make his way forward. That shot takes a big deflection. It falls to Haider Kareem, who puts that one past Alex Paulson, pretty similar to the previous goal, but that time a deflection from one of our players, but that ball there from Josh Pickering was not a good idea. That's how they start to get there on the front foot. It's a bit unlucky. That really kindly falls there to Kareem, who puts it away, in Iraq might be on here for a bit of a comeback, as that makes it 3-2. Not sure why they're checking the offside from that, because that is well before it would actually matter. We'll still praise because we're winning, but also might make some subs. Joe Bell down to red hard, so this time we'll bring on Beal as the deep line playmaker, and also Olise going fairly on a 6.4. Pickering doing worse, but we brought him on at half time, so McDonald, he can go up front. That'll be all our subs used. Iraq making this one a bit interesting. 3-2 with 20 minutes left. And just now into the last 10 minutes of this game, thinking about time wasting, I probably should have, because now a corner here for Iraq, and Al Hamadi was there again, but thankfully that one just on the right side for us of the woodwork. Now we're going to pull back here. Thomas on to support it right back. Jones, though, to counter it, can go on to attack it right wing, but we'll start to do some time wasting stuff, which will hopefully make sure we hold on here and pick up a winner. Loss to Iraq probably makes this a pretty bad window, even though we did beat Mali, because these guys are a fair way below us on the world rankings, around 20 to 30 spots. So I think a loss here could actually be quite damaging. So hopefully we just hold the ball off this highlight and pick up the win. But McDonald can't quite find a teammate, and Pickering pretty sloppy on the ball yet again. He's not having the best day today, but thankfully Thomas tracks back there, the young Phoenix man, and makes up for his mistake. And we're back in position. Hopefully can maybe grab one more goal to put this to bed. Nice ball forward there. Herdman eventually gets on the end of it, but Hussein makes a good save and goal there for Iraq to keep it at 3-2. But thankfully, we are down the right end of the field. Maybe can do something from this set piece and hopefully put this game to bed. Maybe it's going to be Tyler Bindon yet again. Looking for him at the far post, and he'll put it away, very similar to the first goal he scored. And that should put this game to bed. That makes it 4-2 with only 5 minutes left. So Iraq definitely fought their way back into this one, but Tyler Bindon now gets himself on a hat-trick of all players, and to be fair, might have a chance to pick it up as well, because it looks like we're doing quite decently from set piece, albeit I say that they've gone quite close to scoring and have got a goal themselves in aerial situations. Have Iraq, but we make our way into a couple of minutes here of added time. Looking for Thomas there near post, a goal early in his career, but he'll grab the assist. It's George McDonald with a late EIEI goal off of the bench. That makes it 5-2. In terms of stats, that's probably about what we deserve, but definitely Iraq had a good fight back there in the second half. That kind of blows the scoreline out and makes it a bit more flattering than it actually was, but thankfully in the end, it's going to be a pretty comprehensive one. As you can see, second half Iraq, for a brief moment there in terms of XG, really did level up that game when they were 3-2 behind, but thankfully late goals there to both Tyler Bindon and George McDonald do mean that we pick up a 5-2 win. So 10 goals were scored in that window at the moment, and pretty good goal scoring touch here with the All Whites. Hopefully that might mean a rise up the world rings. We'll come back shortly. I'll play Manurewa in the last game of the league season with Cashmere Tech, and we'll find out who we're taking on in the National League Grand Final. So 2 pretty good wins for us there, even though they were against lower ranked opposition with the All Whites in that November international window, and because of that, we've moved up to 35th in the world. It's not the biggest rise up, but I still think that might be a high so far in the save might be looking at being in a higher pot than pot 4 for that FIFA World Cup draw for next year whenever that does take place, and maybe need to start scheduling some friendlies against some tougher opposition the next time we do hit an international window, which I'm pretty sure isn't until March. So before then, we are going to have the OFC Champions League, because of course we've qualified for that with Cashmere Tech having already made our way through to the National League Grand Final. And now it's time to see what did happen on the final match day. And all the games did take place here on the Saturday, the 19th of November. We picked up a pretty meaningless 4-0 win there over Manurewa. Johnson with a hat-trick and Mahamadou with a goal as well. Manurewa actually moved off the bottom of the table last couple of weeks in this National League season, but that's still a team you'd expect us to beat, and more importantly, gave a rest to anyone who was sitting on a yellow card. So it does mean we can put out our best 11 for the final, and Louis Evans also came back in that game 45 minutes before we yanked him off, so he'll be fit for the grand final, which is against Auckland City, because they picked up a 5-1 win in that big clash over Napier City Rovers. It did mean that no matter what Western Suburbs did, which in the end was a narrow 1-0 win over the Phoenix Reserves, they couldn't catch them. But Napier City, who were second for a decent while there, they end up finishing 4th still. Not too bad for a team that were quite far below both Western and Wellington Olympic in the Central League, and below that Wellington, Tauranga, Manurewa, Nelson Suburbs are up there at 1 point. They dropped down quite a bit to finish 8th. The Phoenix Reserves 9th, and Eastern Suburbs, who were around 3rd, I believe, when we took them on a couple of episodes ago, they end up finishing bottom, albeit that is because of goal differential. So that's how the league table does finish for the National League Championship, and it does mean we'll be taking on Auckland City in tomorrow's episode. Hopefully yet again we can show why we should have been at the Club World Cup instead of them. But that will do it for today's episode. 2 good wins there with the All Whites. Just make our way up those world rankings a little bit, and we're going to be taking on Auckland City in the National League Grand Final in 2033 tomorrow. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. As I said, tomorrow we'll come back, play that final, and also run through stuff like the end of season review and transfer budgets. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.